Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and we have an amazing show on tap for you today. A Texans mailbag with questions from none other than you, the amazing viewers of Texans Today. And if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I want to get on the show, I want to have a question on this channel, well, 2 easy steps to voice your opinion. First, you got to be subscribed. So go down and hit that sub button or go to youtube.com/TexansTV because you also get daily Texans videos here on the channel for 100% free. Helps me out a ton if you hit that sub button, and you'll get to go on our mailbags. The second thing you need to do is use hashtag Texans in the comment section. So whatever comment you have, whatever question you have, just put hashtag Texans in it in the comment section, and I'll pull the best questions for our next Texans mailbag. First question coming up from Colton Soto, hashtag Texans. I love the trick plays last year. Do you think we will do more of them this year with this offense? Well, more, I'm not sure if we'll do more or less of them. I know Bobby Slowik, he's been in his bag this offseason talking about, studying the tape, talking with guys like, Kyle Shanahan, where he was before with the 49ers, talking about, reviewing tape from Sean McVay. So there could be maybe not trick plays, but a little, nuance here and there, some pre-snap motion that is more involved this season. And I think it could be interesting with guys like Tank Dell, John Mechie, some speedsters the Texans have at the wide receiver position. There could be some options there to do some trickery. Maybe, some wide receiver screens, some, throwbacks, some, in reverses or something like that. I could see some more trick plays along those lines. Not a ton, though, because this Texans offense is just good. So I don't know if they'll need to run a ton of trickery rather than C.J. Stroud just dropping back in the pocket and letting his wide receivers go to work. But could see a little bit more, pre-snap motion this season from Bobby Slowik in this offense. Next question coming in from Football Rocks, my guy. Thanks for commenting on the video. He says, hashtag Texans. What are the Texans' biggest threat in the AFC and NFC other than the Chiefs? This is a pretty good question, Football Rocks. Now, in the AFC, besides the Chiefs, it's loaded. It's a loaded conference. I'm not going to lie to you. In the AFC, you have the Ravens, who the Texans obviously lost to in the playoffs last year. They're still going to be good and relevant. I think the Dolphins are going to be pretty decent. The biggest question mark, in my opinion, when it comes to the AFC is going to be the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers and that squad. There's a lot of high hopes for that team. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is able to, dial it back and, get that MVP performance that we've seen from him in the past. That's another really good team. I said the Colts are a pretty sneaky team in our own division that we should be watching out for. Other than that, probably... I don't know if the Steelers and the Steelers' defense is really good. I don't know if Russell Wilson still is. So the biggest ones, though, the biggest one, in my opinion, other than the Chiefs, is going to be the Ravens in the AFC. On the NFC, the 49ers are still there as well. But, the Lions had them on the ropes last year, should have beat them in the NFC Championship game, and ended up fumbling that game away. I think the Lions might be the best team in the NFC this season after, stumbling in the playoffs last year. I love what Dan Campbell's done with that squad, that team. They have a lot of grit. So I would say in the NFC, it'd be the Detroit Lions. But what say you? Who do you think is the best team in the NFC going into next season? Do you think it's going to be repeat, the 49ers win it again, or do you think it's maybe the Lions, maybe the Cowgirls? I don't see it being them. Maybe the Eagles, maybe the Saints? I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section who's the best team in the NFC going into next season. This question coming in from maybe Mab or Mab Squad 1914. Hashtag Texans. Will Pitre be used more in the box with Ward single high, or do we need a safety single high? I think this is exactly why you went out and drafted a guy like Calen Bullock. When we look at this Texans safety depth chart, obviously it's still Jimmie Ward and Jalen Pitre as safety 1 and safety 2. Calen Bullock, I think, slides in at that safety 3. And, yeah, it's definitely a point of concern going into next season when you look at this safety room and what they're working with. Obviously you have Calen Bullock, who's going to be a good, high or single high safety, a guy who can really play center field for you, be that roaming safety on the back end to help with deep passes against this Texans defense. But how much will he play his rookie season, and will we be able to rely on a rookie to, man the ship on the back end going into this next season. Because, the Texans, they don't have a lot of time to, experiment. A lot of people expect this team to be one of the top teams in the AFC, if not the number one contender to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you're not 100% sure in Bullock going into the season, once you've gone through training camp, maybe a couple preseason games, there are quite a few options at the safety position still in free agency. Obviously, the big one, Justin Simmons. He's going to be a really good option for the Texans. I don't know if they go that route anymore or spend that money on Justin Simmons. I could see this, them possibly going in the way of like a Quandre Diggs if they want to, add some depth, add another guy who's been a really good safety in this league for many years. I can't remember the commenter who's always watching my videos, but he's always saying Quandre Diggs, Quandre Diggs, Quandre Diggs, which I don't hate that move at all if the Texans want to add a little bit more depth, add another guy on the back end. And Eddie Jackson, another safety available in free agency the Texans could have their eye on if need be. Like, it gets to training camp, it gets to the preseason, and you don't like what you have in Pitre, Ward, and Bullock going into the regular season. Next question coming in from Adam Martinez. Let's effing go, Chuggs. Do you think Noah Brown makes the roster this year? I think he does. I think Noah Brown does end up making the roster this year. But I do have to say, if it's in training camp and preseason and Noah Brown just does not look right, because the biggest thing with Noah Brown has been his health with his time in the NFL. I mean, he has not been able to stay healthy any year he's been playing in the National Football League. So if Noah Brown can stay healthy this offseason and going into the regular season, I think he would earn a roster spot, but that's going to be the big key. Is he healthy, and where is he at once this regular season rolls around? Now, once the regular season rolls around, you're going to be wanting one of these dope new Texans jerseys, and you can get them on sale now with our friends over at Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/Texans jerseys. They have all the styles available for you right now. All 4 of the new Texans jerseys available right now when you go and click this link, chatsports.com/Texans jerseys. That's going to be available for you in the comment section and description of today's video. One more time, it's chatsports.com/Texans jerseys. Go get them today before they sell out. You don't want to be rocking one of the old jerseys. Get one of the brand new CJ Stroud jerseys today with our friends over at Fanatics. Brian Johnson should keep, #Texans should keep Steven Sims as the kick returner. I don't hate it, but it's going to be hard because we already talked about this wide receiver room and Noah Brown earlier. To keep a guy like Steven Sims means you're going to have to cut a guy on the back end, and that's either going to be a Noah Brown. I think John Mechie's a lock at this point. I think your top 4 guys are a lock, but for number 5, are you going to keep Steven Sims over Noah Brown, or are you going to keep Steven Sims over a guy that you traded in for Ben Skoranek, who gives you a lot more flexibility and, what he can do on offense and in the special teams unit? He can, be on punt return, kick return, kickoff, punt, all of those Ben Skoranek could be on. Steven Sims, is he giving you enough as a kick returner to solidify a spot on the final 53-man roster? I'm not sure if that's the case. You drafted a guy in Jawar Jordan, who I think is going to be a very good return man in this league if given the opportunity. You also have Dameon Pierce, the backup running back for the Texans going into this season, who returned to kickoff for a touchdown last year and shows some promise in the kickoff return game as well. So I don't know if Steven Sims will be it as the kick returner. I think Steven Sims is a better punt returner than he is a kick returner. But if he's just, a good punt returner, does that, solidify him a spot on the final 53-man? I'm not sure at this point, Brian. Next up, Tyler Jones, #Texans. Could the Texans trade for Cam Hayward? Heard he's not happy with the Steelers. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a contract dispute with Cam Hayward going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. A very good defensive tackle, been, all-pro caliber with his time in Pittsburgh. This is another guy where the Texans aren't going to be able to get him in the preseason, in my opinion. I think if they make a move for Cam Hayward, it's a couple things. The Steelers, they're not having a good season. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, that whole experiment did not work out for them, and they're not doing very well. And then 2, Cam Hayward is just not happy. He's getting up there in age. He wants a multi-year contract. The Steelers are not willing to give it to him at this point in time. So if the Texans trade for him, they're going to, have to, sign to a couple of years, and 2, be in a spot during the regular season where they need defensive tackle help and are trying to go in all in for a Super Bowl run this season. I don't know if the Texans make this move, but I think it'll be more towards the trade deadline if they make a move of this caliber, in my opinion. Do you think the Texans make a splashy move, though? Maybe like trading for a Cam Heyward or trading for another guy or making a splashy free agency signing like a Justin Simmons? Let me know down in the comment section. Do you think the Texans make another splashy move this season? Give me a yes, give me a no. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section. And then Adam Martinez, he asked a ton of questions, so I had to give him a little bit more airtime on this video. What do you think the issue was last year with our defense, and how do you think DeMeco fixes it in this year, Chuggs? I think a couple things. I think when you look back at DeMeco Ryans' defenses with the San Francisco 49ers, there was a real emphasis on getting to the quarterback and having a lethal defensive line at every single position. And I think the Texans did that this offseason with signing a guy like Danielle Hunter, who's more proven. I know Jonathan Grenard showed a lot of promise, but Danielle Hunter, he's more proven. You know he can get after the quarterback and get sacks. And then same with Denico Autry, that he brought in another guy who can get after the quarterback and wreak some havoc in the passing game. The Texans, they were bottom 10 in passing defense last season, and I think the biggest thing that he's done is address that pass rush to help in the passing game, to really give the quarterback less time. And then he drafted a guy like Kamari Lassiter to kind of solidify the corner spot a little bit. Signed a couple, journeymen in Jeff Okudah and CJ Henderson to give them a second chance, a little, high upside guys with those former top 10 picks in Henderson and Okudah. But I think really helping in this passing game, DeMeco Ryans wants to get after the quarterback. DeMeco Ryans wants to get more sacks this season, and I think this Texas defense will definitely do that with the emergence of Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter going into this season. That's all I have for you on today's video, folks. If you want to continue the conversation, if you want to hit me up, if you want to talk ball, you know where to find me on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. Go give me a follow. My DMs are always open. And if you want to get on a future mailbag video, the first step, what did I say you got to do? You got to go down and hit that sub button. Go down and make sure you subscribe to the Best Texans channel here on YouTube. Free videos all year long. You made it to the end of the video. What are you waiting for? Go down and hit that sub button for daily Texans vids.